if you get marked in a university here, 2 other lecturers check what that person marked.
Yes.
To make sure it's fair.
So we do double marking.
No, and you don't need to demand. I know of a university. Our son went to a university in Abuja, Bayes University, where they apply that. But it's a lot of money to go to such universities. We can change the Nigerian system. I hope someone is saying that as I build myself, because I know that, funding can be a problem. And that's where Voice of One comes in. And I told him, I remember when I first told him, I said, you need us in Nigeria. This is amazing what you're doing. He was like, well, this is, because I said, look, for us, it's not about, we've been involved in reforming education. We realize that if anything is going to change in Nigeria, it will take us, because our government is still growing and they're doing their best. I've seen some changes, but it's not yet good enough. So anyway, so I got a C. And I went to meet my lecturer, and my lecturer said, yes, you did a lot of what is called descriptive writing.
That's right. No said, criticality.
Just, and sorry, if anybody is Yoruba in the house, that's where I come from. Say, where you just write it, knowledge, you put it down. But now what had happened was, because of visa issues, I came in a bit late. So I missed the training program, the orientation that talked about creative writing or academic writing, where you write the information you have, you apply it to your situation. And, I was constantly being asked, apply this information to the situation, like in your school. This is what you're learning. I learned the difference between what is called policy learning and policy borrowing. And a lot of countries, they will come to the UK, they see things working, they just carry the strategy, without saying, how can we make it work in Nigeria? There are things that we need to adapt application. And we have a lot of curricula that has come into Nigeria, and it's been policy borrowing. And after a while, it just goes dead, and the understanding doesn't pass across. And so by the time she explained to me, said, see, we want to know what you are thinking. When you're putting that information, after that, we want you to analyze it for us. I'm like, okay. But I had to accept that I didn't know it. And I hope somebody is accepting, I don't know it, but I can know it. And so I started to read up about it, despite my busy schedule, and I have to tell you that my next grade was a B, and finally I ended with an A. I was this close to a first class. But I heard this was the same experience. There was even a PhD lecturer from Nigeria that came to the UK, did her first assignment and got a D. She said she wanted to go back to Nigeria. But I hope somebody is saying, no, this is not too much for me. I can change. You have to have a flexible mindset. And the money that Kim is talking about, like she said, for you to come here, and a lot of Nigerians have done a lot of things to come here that is very painful. I know Kim is aware of it because being a Christian, she's been exposed to Nigerians in her church. And there's a lot that's happening. They borrow this money, they go in debt and all that, rather than grow to be able to handle it. And even by the time they get here, even with, I'm sorry, Kim, I hope you don't mind me saying that, but even with their getting a first class, they're still doing menial jobs.
Oh, yes, I know. And we are, certainly in education world, we are very aware of that.
Because
our own prejudices, in fact, all of us have prejudice.
Yes.
Whether it be religious, whether it be tribal.
Yes.
Look at your name and where your name is. You can tell where you're from. Therefore, someone else might think less of you. So prejudice, bias
is there. But
we have to say we have it, but it's what we do with it that makes the difference.
Yeah, but Kim, I found out that Nigerians that are able to go through, yes, there are prejudices, and Nigerians that, because I'm a maths teacher from Nigeria, but unless I apply myself to go through the UK training, and that is humbling, and we need to be humble, because the way we teach in Nigeria, I was told, for example, I applied as a maths teacher for a while, and it was like, yes, you might be good in Nigeria, but can you teach the UK way? There's a need for us to recognize that we need to change. And it's just for a while. And there are short courses they made available, some of them free, and volunteering in a UK school and observing, and then actually practicing it for a while, and then they assess you. Like now, a lot of Nigerians, we're going to be talking about that on Thursday, you and I and other people. A lot of Nigerians want to get a QTS, but they don't have a portfolio. They've never thought about it. And going through your course will help them to develop a portfolio. But we want you to see beyond that. I had to change. I had to go back and recognize there's something here, the ability to apply, the ability to analyze, the ability to plan with what I have. It must be in your essay. If not, you can't get an A. It's not enough to just pour down the information. And if we are going to build children that have 21st century skills, we ourselves as teachers must develop this.
Absolutely.
When we're writing our lesson plans, do we apply? I'm sorry, Kim, but I like to use myself as an example. A lady came to evaluate our school, and we use a blend of the American Christian curriculum, which already uses this, and the Nigerian one. And the lady said, I'm sorry, a number of your teachers don't know how to differentiate with the students. Differentiated learning. Do you study your student? Like you were saying, there's a lot of, you're not allowing your student to talk, all these things, they are so critical. If you are going to make global impact, after you finish teaching in a class, do you realize that student might need more of visual explanation and not just what you've shared? You might have to give them pictures. Here in the UK, you actually have learning support assistants in each class going around every individual child and helping to make sure that they really understand. I was talking to someone 2 days ago, a young boy, and he was telling me about how when his friend in his class got less than 80, he was caned on his feet. Rather than how do you assist?
Oh, you mean in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, yes, sorry.
Don't just say it's not.
No, it's not allowed here, sorry. How do you help? You got 80%, you're an idiot. No. Try to understand, how does the child see things and bring it down to the child's level. So the lady was evaluating some of our teachers and said, they don't understand this. And it's missing in the Nigerian curriculum. Mm-hmm. In training teachers. Yes.
It's hard work. Being a teacher, a reflective practitioner, a reflective teacher is much harder because you are always having to think about the needs of different people all the time. And it is much more difficult to do that than it is to just follow a curriculum, follow what someone else says. So, yeah, it is easier to be.
It is. But the thing is, if our teachers are going to make global impact, because at the end of the day, when I look at it, I said, if you're investing so much into your learning because of the financial situation in Nigeria, how are they able to see it as an investment? Because if they invest so much and what they're being paid in Nigerian currency doesn't really, because they'll tell you being a teacher, it doesn't really, the payment, as a teacher, unless you're working in the foreign schools or very expensive schools, how did they, make enough money and also have more than enough for their needs? Because I believe that is something God wants everyone to have. It is possible, after you've learned this, to go online and become an online tutor. We have something to offer, and people will connect to you from all over the world and they'll pay you in dollars. Did I hear someone say, okay, is that possible? Yes, you have something to offer. There are so many countries that would appreciate what we're doing. I've asked someone to unmute. I'd love to have a feedback from someone. Is that making sense? Because yes, like Kim said, what this course is going to, you have to pay some money, and they allow you to pay per module. I'm very, when you break it down, because we put one of our teachers on that, and we're going to put another one next year.